Day weekend, and welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's currently Sunday, May 25th, and I decided to make a separate video. So this one won't be any coverage of any yield max funds. It's just a review of the trades that I made throughout the week. Since it was a decent amount and it might take a little extra time, I didn't want to add it to the end of one of the other videos and make the video too long. So these are just my trades for the week. Quick little update. We're up to 429 subscribers on the goal of 1,000, so we're making some progress. Okay, so we will start out. I've kind of got a little bit of an order to these. There's a method to my madness, but so real quick, I in general don't like to just buy shares of something. I want to be paid to buy shares. So I wanted to get into BITO, B-I-T-O, which is ProShares Bitcoin ETF. All right, my brother put me onto them. So I sold a cash secured put at $22 on Friday, expiring next Friday, when the current price was at $23.02. So it was 4.64% out of the money. It was just for one contract, 100 shares. I got paid $18 minus the fees. So for that, I had to put up $2,200 in collateral and collected $17.32 altogether after paying the fees. As of right now, I just put in the expiration date for when I'm going to close it. Let's say it goes big time in my favor, then I'd close it in less days. But worst case scenario, this is 7-day. That comes out to a $2.47 per day profit and annualized a 41% annual return on capital. The goal here is to actually get the shares though, but for the purpose of a wheel strategy. So you sell cash secured puts until you get assigned. Once assigned, you sell covered calls, and you just keep going back and forth using it for income. So that was not the first trade. The first trade, I'm kind of trying to keep an order here. So the first trade I'm going to talk to you about. Next, I have IonQ. They're kind of one of my favorite ones to trade options on. These are all past trades. That's why they're grayed out. So it's the same thing. I have a wheel strategy on IonQ. So if you just real quick see, I started out selling cash secured puts back in January, ended up getting assigned at where is it, $39 and $35, but through and if you're familiar with the stock at all, it dropped all the way down to like $18. You can see here in March I was selling $20.50 strike price calls with a stock at $18.68. So heck of a drop. If I would have just bought the shares there and took that drop, that would have hurt. But instead, I just kept on selling and rolling options. These recently went against me. So this week on the 21st, I closed out the ones that were expiring on Friday the 23rd. They were for $31. I had to pay $4 per share to close them out. And I sold them for $3.92. But this has been a roll because the stock has really taken off. If we take a quick look, IonQ, yeah. So, and even before that. So I've been just fine selling in around 30, and then all of a sudden this run up. So I'm getting ready to get assigned. These are going to get called away. Most likely won't be able to continue. But so I rolled them to next week. I only ever roll if I make a profit. So paid $4 to close in the roll, but sold for the following week for $4.10, and that also I increased. I went from being able to sell them for $31 to being able to sell them for $31.50. So I'm just trying to squeeze the last bit out of them before I can no longer roll. But the good news is I'm going to end up, let's say these get assigned next Friday, I'll sell 200 shares at $31.50. So that would bring in $6,300. And my little calculator over here says that all said and done, my cost basis is $54.83 for 200 shares. So I'm going to make around, what's that, $800, $820, $850 on a stock that went way against me and then came back. So my overall annual, my average throughout all the trades is 66%. So not bad. I'm going to jump over because I also, since they went up so much, got a little bit overbought. I created a spread on them as well. So this is separate from the wheel. On Friday, again, May 23rd, I created a credit call spread where I sold $54 strikes. These are for next Friday, the 30th. I sold $54 strikes and I purchased $59 strikes. So it's a $5 spread. I collected 57 cents per share credit, had to pay $1.36 in fees. And I did that when the price was at $45.38. So these are 15, almost 16% out of the money. So just kind of thinking that that run's kind of run out of steam. I don't want to sit and go into technical indicators and things like that and bore people, but you only had to put up $500 for that spread because it was a $5 spread times 100 shares, collecting 55, so over 10%, over 11%, which that would come out to, if you made 11% every 7 days, that comes out to 580% annualized. So this spreadsheet that I keep, if you watch my channel, I like lots of spreadsheets. So this has just been my spreads for this year. It was a new thing I just started. It's not an individual stock spreadsheet. It's any spreads that I've done. So I've done some on Apple, SPY, Ford, Vail, QBTS, Apple again, and IonQ. Haven't had a ton of luck. So as you can see, out of all the spreads I've done this year, I have lost $82. And unfortunately, some of them were because of closing at the wrong time. Things went against me. I closed them to take the loss, and then they ended up coming back and would have been a 100% win if I'd have left them alone. But I'm learning. So, and I'm guessing if you're watching my channel, you're trying to learn too. So, but I'm looking for the stock price of IonQ to stay under $54 by next Friday. Okay, so that's my wheels and spreads. I also have 3 what are called poor man's covered calls, where you purchase a deep in the money long-term call, and then you sell calls off of that. So I have them for APLD, INTC, and SOFI. And I've been working with them. So if you watched the previous week, you saw that I've been trading these. I usually try to sell them out about a month. So this past week, I closed the $6 on APLD. Here's another one. I'll say it went against me, but it's okay. I've got a $2 call purchased on it, so it's okay. What are we looking at, a week or a month? We're looking at a month, but let's see. For the week, it's really gone up 15% in a week, 74% in a month. So I've been trying to chase that because I don't want these to get assigned yet. The whole goal is to see how much money I can make selling calls off of this leap throughout. It's purchased all the way out till January of 2027. So this is a little experiment I'm doing with these. Obviously didn't really need to do a poor man's covered call on such a low-priced stock. It's more for higher things that you can't necessarily afford 100 shares of, but I'm trying to learn, so I'm learning with small amount of money before I apply it for bigger money. So I bought to close my $6 May 23rd. I had to pay 77 cents per share to close them. I upped it to $6.50, went out a month, collected 88 cents. So generally I'd be making more premium per month, but I'm sitting here trying to chase one and roll up in price. So only got to collect 11 cents in the difference there. Let's see. I started out, I had to pay. So the big goal is to make enough throughout the time to pay back the amount that I paid to start the leap. So I started out $428, and that is down to $368. The sooner I get that to zero, the sooner I am living in pure profit land. That shouldn't. Well, okay. So I've made money on two of the transactions. Lost on this most recent one, because I sold it for 11 and bought it for 77. But since the roll went back to making more, it's still okay. But my average return on capital for this so far is 55%. After APLD comes Intel, same exact story. Rolled them, closed out the May 23rd for $24, paid a penny. So I guess I shouldn't say same story, right? This one did not go against me. I got to close these out for a penny and then open the new ones. Kept the same strike price, $24, while the strike's at $21.37. So they're 12% out of the money. Collected $26 for the month. And that's really it for that one. Not as big of gains, but not really having any losses. So I'm at a 20% average annual return on capital off of the trades. Obviously, I don't include the purchase of the leap. So I need to make another $800 before that's paid off, but it doesn't necessarily need to get fully paid off to be making money. All right, and the final poor man's call, covered call, is on SoFi. Again, same story. I closed I think I wrote something wrong there. I did. That should have been a right, that was a expiration May 30th, strike 14. Okay, so sold it for $1.02, closed it for 11 cents. That's a win. 11 cents a share, so $11. And then I did this actually earlier in the week, though. I didn't wait until, obviously these don't expire until next Friday, but I wanted, for 11 cents, it seemed I didn't want to wait a week and a half just to collect 11 more cents. So went ahead and closed them, and now I got all three of my poor man's covered call on the same schedule, all expiring on June 20th. Kept the same strike price of $14. These are 8% out of the money, so I collected 43 cents per share, averaging 24% on my annual return of capital. Trying to make another $600 to wipe out that initial cost of the leap, but that has value, right? So doing well on all of them, nothing to complain about. Like I said, picked some fairly cheap stocks. This one's 14, the other one was in the low 20s, and then the other one was like a $6 stock. Okay, and then finally, just an update on my dividends, and I made a lot of moves. So I highlighted in yellow just to talk about things. I guess I should have. I don't know if I talked about it last time. So I got out of a couple positions that I was in. I've already talked about getting out of YMAG and switching it for YMAX. I like that fund better, both Yield Max funds, but this is just on the MAG 7, where this is on all the individual funds that Yield Max has. So I like that one better. And then now that I've been providing coverage, I picked a couple that I have liked how they are trading. I also got back into Misty. If you saw last time, I accidentally got my shares assigned on a call, so then I sold a put to get them back, and I got them back. So I'm back in. I missed the nice 237 distribution last month, but I'll be getting the following one coming up. I didn't update that yet. So CLM is a fund I've been in for a long time, and they just recently had a rights offering where we were offered for for every 3 shares you had, you had the right to purchase a share, and at a discounted rate. So the rate that was quoted in the paperwork was $6.61. So I signed up. I bought the max that I could. I had the money debited from my account, and then CLM just happened to have a great time ever since the offering. So it went back when we were offered it. It was in the sub 7 range, right? So it was probably in this late April. Signed up for it. $6.61 was the offered price. Since then, as you see, ran all the way as high as $7.45. But on the day that they were given the shares, they basically credited the money back that equaled the $6.61 share price, and then debited the account at the current stock price of $7.31, I think it was, or $7.30. So they basically gave me the right to buy shares right at the peak. So that made me mad, and I sold their shares because really they weren't paying a huge dividend anyway. And now that I'm into all these yield max funds, I like them better. So won't be in CLM anymore, not USOI, not YMAG. So I now have 100 shares of Misty, 400 shares of Ulti, and 100 each of Nefli, Aptly, and AMZI, as well as 200 shares of YMAX. And then I just like to just keep track. You don't care about these numbers, but I'm going to do a better job. I'm going to sort this chart next time so the highest ones are at the top, leading highest to lowest. But so far this month in May, I've only collected $232 in dividends. This is a lower month. I haven't received some distributions that come right at the end. I got out of some funds right before just because things weren't working out, and I got in a little too late on others. So next month should be much better than 232. But overall for the year, I've collected $1,127 off of this roughly $12,000 worth of money invested. These little charts, I don't know how much you guys would care about that. Just a month by month for each one. Obviously, I need to add some more rows now for the ones that I just purchased. And then my weeklies, I had to create another separate chart so that I can get the 4 weekly payments in and then transfer them over to the monthly, so then they'll transfer over. But I grayed out because I won't be getting YMAG anymore. I switched it to YMAX, so I grayed out the previous version, and now I'll just put my weekly distributions in there. And then, of course, I have Ulti. Okay, so that's all my trades for this past week. And keep an eye out. I'll be making the videos for the week look ahead and guesstimates for all the other funds that I cover. Thank you. Hope you're having a great time with friends and family.